What up guys, Overman here. So as you may or may not know, Bungie dropped the 1.1.1 patch today, which included the weapon changes as well as the fix for the heavy ammo glitch. So now the big question is, are pulse rifles worth using, or are they still crappy and should you still dismantle them as soon as you get them? The answer surprised me a lot. I honestly thought that this 10% buff wasn't gonna do a damn thing and that pulse rifles were still gonna suck. And honestly, I don't even believe it's 10%. I feels like a little bit more because pulse rifles are surprisingly useful in PvP now. I tried out just a legendary pulse rifle, nothing exotic, in the Crucible, and it worked pretty well. I was able to hold my own, and I think I came in second place in Rumble. That's not too bad for a pulse rifle. And if I wasn't playing like shit, I probably could have won too. Now, I don't think that pulse rifles are necessarily as good as hand cannons, auto rifles, and scout rifles in the Crucible, but they're definitely not just trash now. So what I'm saying is, if I was really try-harding it up, I wouldn't use a pulse rifle, but if I'm just playing casually and I want to experiment with different weapons, pulse rifles are a viable choice now. You're not going to just get shitted on 24/7 because you chose to use a pulse rifle. However, I will say they're not as easy to use as auto rifles, but they don't necessarily provide as big of a reward as scout rifles and hand cannons do if you hit those precision shots. Now don't get me wrong, pulse rifles will kill pretty quickly if you can land consecutive precision shots. When people are jumping around and shit like that, it's kind of hard to do. I feel like I'm kind of rambling, but the final verdict is, if you've got some pulse rifles, go ahead and try them out in PvP. You're not going to feel like a total ass. I'd say they're usable now. I don't think they're anything amazing, but they're usable. So when I was using my time on target in PvE, I felt like pulse rifles were kind of similar to shotguns in that I wouldn't choose to use a pulse rifle for high level PvE content, for example the Nightfall or the Raid. However, I wouldn't mind using them in daily missions and in the Vanguard Rock playlist for a change of pace. So for my first impressions, I think pulse rifles just need a little bit more damage to really compete with the scout rifles and hand cannons and auto rifles, but they're still solid weapons. But I think the big issue is that if I was trying to do my best, I don't see why I would go with a pulse rifle over a scout rifle. I don't think I would choose time on target over something like the Saturn Rapier, the Badger, another NITC. I think those are superior at range, and a lot of auto rifles with stability upgrades are pretty good in that medium range and even medium range itself. So I don't see too much of a point to use the pulse rifles unless you just want to have some fun and introduce some variety into your gameplay. Now for the shotgun buff, I definitely noticed this one. Prior to the buff this morning, I went into the daily mission with my Fellwinter's Lie, and I went up to a knight and I shot him once and I took off about half of his health. After the buff, I one-shotted that knight. So the 100% buff is definitely working, and it's definitely going to make shotguns more usable in the Vanguard Rock and the daily missions. However, I didn't save the Nightfalls or the Raids because I don't think shotguns are very suited for those activities. Maybe in some circumstances, a Swordbreaker or Fellwinter's Lie can be used in Crota's End and in some parts of Vault of Glass, but for our Nightfall strike this week, I wouldn't recommend running around with your Fellwinter's Lie. Slap on the Icebreaker or your Longbow Synthesis or your LDR or whatever. Sniper rifles still trumps shotguns in the Nightfall, but you probably knew that, of course. That's really all I got for this video. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to smash that like button, and if you're not feeling too shy, drop a comment below and let me know what you think about the weapon changes. And of course, subscribe for more videos like this in the future, and follow me on Twitter to interact with me, and just in case your YouTube sub box fucks up, you'll still be able to know when I upload videos. That's enough babbling from me. Overman out.